Damien should stay with me.
He will want to be with his mother.
He's Robin now. He stays with the Batman.
Damien should stay with me.
But I'm his mother.
But I'm Batman.
So Damien has taken the Batmobile to an abandoned toy factory and is scolded by his dad for it.
I've half a mind to report you for Grand Theft Auto.
Hello, police? My son stole the Batmobile.
Okay, let's just put up a list of the things from the last movie Damien was the best ever at. Now we can add World's Greatest Detective to that list because of course Damien solved the case when Batman couldn't.
What does a town that was wiped out by floods 3 years ago have to do with the children that have gone missing in Gotham?
Maybe nothing. But I found it a little odd that every one of them owned toys made here.
Yeah, because that's totally something Batman would have missed. I know Batman is not infallible. He has missed things that other characters, Robin's included, have picked up on. But here's the difference. We have actually spent time with those characters and have been put in a situation where them seeing something Batman overlooked is believable, character building and humanizing. But once again, we're asked to believe that Damien did this because of course he did. He's just that special. God, 1 minute. Not even a freaking minute and I'm already complaining about Damien. So we get exposition explaining that they're after a child abductor, but also a little insight into Batman and Robin's dynamic.
Don't do anything till I get there.
Word of honor, I won't do anything.
This shows quite well that Damien is putting in effort to please his father, but is still uncomfortable with following the rules Batman has set out. Is that character building?
Alright, your specialty. Victimized children.
Also, a little insight into Batman's character? Is that subtlety I'm seeing? So Robin fights the kids and eventually Batman drops in to give him a hand.
Alternate response might be, thanks, Batman.
Was that a joke? Are we actually getting a dynamic between this dynamic duo? So Batman saves the kids and Robin goes to chase the bad guy. Scary Owl Guy kills the killer. Batman accuses Robin of the murder. And in this, we actually get some development for Damien.
Justice, not vengeance. Justice, not vengeance.
You know what? Maybe I was a little hasty in prejudging this movie. This is pretty good. So Bruce is on a date with a Gotham socialite who I'm sure won't turn out to be the villain.
I was reading. I must have fallen asleep.
Cog-blocked. Enjoy parenthood, Bruce. Since apparently the first time didn't count because...
I'm what?
We'll get to that. We get another really good interaction between Bruce and Damien before Damien tries to sneak out, dodging increasingly dangerous booby traps. I would be a little bit more forgiving if this was just standard Wayne Manor security, but...
You didn't really think I'd let you sneak out again.
Best dad ever. So they have another talk about how uncomfortable and trapped Damien feels, and Bruce tries, but he really doesn't manage to get through to Damien, and very quickly afterwards...
I got you a sitter.
He leaves the cave. Full disclosure, in my Son of Batman review, I thought this scene was in Bad Blood. It's actually in this movie, so apologies for that. Now, Dick and Damien is one of my favourite relationships in all of comics, and feel free to disagree with me in the comments, but this for me is the best Batman and Robin. Not the best Batman, not the best Robin, but the best Batman and Robin. The misadventures of Grumpy Robin and Happy Batman are just a joy to read, but are still full of the usual Batman darkness. And Dick was really the perfect person to step up at this point in Damien's life. His nature allowed Damien to relax and be a kid without feeling patronised. But his skill and competence earned Damien's respect, allowing him to come into his own as a hero. This relationship is honestly very sweet, and the contrast of their personalities makes for a really entertaining dynamic. Well, the movie has been doing a good job with Bruce and Damien, so let's see how they handle this relationship.
I was trained by Bruce Wayne, And every time they met, he kicked Ra's al Ghul's ass. Just like I'm kicking yours.
Fuck off. Okay, they seem to be merging Damien's relationship with Tim in the comics with his relationship with Dick. And I had no trouble with Dick's character in the previous movie, but...
The pure and perfect Dick Grayson. The first Robin. Ugh!
Based on what I'm seeing, I was the only Robin.
God, he is a lowercase d Dick here. Okay, writers, I gave you the benefit of the doubt when it looked like you were giving Damien more legitimacy as Bruce's son and portraying blood status as important, but no more. You have got to be doing this on purpose. Writers, are you okay? Did you have an adopted sibling your parents loved more than you? Do you have an unhealthy relationship with your own genetics? Seriously, who in this day and age thinks that blood makes any difference when it comes to how superior you are? And who, other than narcissistic monsters, think that blood means one child should be held in higher esteem than the other?
You're just some lost little orphan you took pity on.
Honestly, they continue to go out of their way to say that Damien is better than Dick because...
I'm blood! I'm his son.
You certainly are.
That is, to put it bluntly, insulting and, in my opinion, a horrific viewpoint to hold. Bruce is investigating the Court of Elves. So, Talons pop up, Batman fights them and discovers they are undead, and Batman's actually having a bit of trouble and it looks like he's in for it until they...
Take care, beware, or they will send...
A talon for your head.
Please don't tell me the Wayne's death is connected to the court. Please. You will really, again, like I explained in my Gotham High review, ruin one of the simplest and best origin stories for a superhero that has ever been created. Please don't do that.
You're wearing what? The red one? With the lace and the thong?
Was that really necessary? And in that voice? With the thong? Damien sneaks out and works out some aggression by interrupting a mugging. Again, pretty good character development. The kid's voice acting is...
Get up! So I can hurt you some more.
Better this time around, but still pretty bad. He encounters Talon and they have a conversation about the no-killing rule. It's pretty on the nose as far as morality debates go, but basically fine. And Talon offers Robin a place in the court. Damien sneaks back in to find Bruce and Dick waiting for him. Bruce and Damien get into another fight.
A biological accident doesn't make you my father, and it sure as hell doesn't make me your son.
Well, that tune certainly changed sharply, didn't it? Bruce brings out the old boarding school threat. Best dad ever. But Dick, despite the fact that he's angry about being taken advantage of, empathizes with Damien.
Then talk to him about it.
He doesn't listen.
But Bruce, he's just...
He's not you, Dick. You had a heart.
And he doesn't?
That's not what I mean.
Hello, Dick. It's nice to see you actually acting like you for a change. Now, I would applaud the writers for this, and I do want to reinstate the benefit of the doubt that this is just poor writing and not a poor outlook on parenthood, but they still use the blood argument to hammer into the audience that Damien is superior to everyone.
You really played me for a fool.
Not hard to do.
So Damien sneaks out again.
I shut the outgoing system down, sir.
Bless your heart, Alfred. It was a poor decision on your part, but bless your heart regardless. Bruce, despite the fact that his son is missing, goes out on a date. Best dad ever. And gets chased by some 50 Shades of Grey rejects.
Take care, beware, or they will send...
A talon for your head.
Or, they'll come after it themselves. They're not fussed. Now, the Court of Elves is probably the most recent Batman villain ever created that captured the imagination, and I get why. I just have my own issues with it. Mainly the effect it has on the wider Batman universe. It's kind of similar to my problem with Hydra in the Captain America movies and Ares in the Wonder Woman movie. It is a pretty convenient out for explaining away the evils of the world. It's pretty nice to not have to blame crime, poverty, disease, inequality on a faulty system that is so fundamentally flawed at its core that we have absolutely no idea how to even begin fixing it, and just say it's one evil entity's fault. But that's not a problem with this movie, just my own personal gripe with the concept. So this person, who's totally not the girlfriend, offers Bruce a place in the court. Bruce plays along and we get an exposition scene that explains the process of making talons and why they exploded earlier. So Damien and Talon team up and take down a drug gang, and we are again given some really good development for Damien as he struggles with his own morality. And what's this? Development for the villain?
You've done quite enough.
This is where you choose sides, once and for all.
Now get out of my way before...
I'm not giving this one a fuck off because it is clear that Batman isn't trying, nor does he want to. And this is actually quite an emotional scene.
If this is what you want, then do it!
And it is revealed that the girlfriend is the Grandmaster, and I am so shocked. Plus she's with the non-undead Talon. Great descriptor there, Ainsley. You studied journalism. And I know this is petty, but why is she wearing a suit and pretending to be a man? Except to try and mislead the audience. What is the internal narrative purpose of her wearing a suit and pretending to be a man? Because the other members of the court are going to have to know who each other are if they're going to coordinate and say, you put this money there, you get this politician in your pocket or something. They're going to have to know who each other are. So everyone in the court knows who she is. The only reason for her to disguise herself is when talking to people who are not members of the court. But isn't the mask enough? It's enough for everyone else. So, except for trying desperately, because this is desperate, to mislead the audience, why the hell is she wearing a suit and pretending to be a man? Answer me that question. I'm sorry, I don't know why that is the thing I've gotten the most angry about thus far, but yeah, that really bugs me. They try to make it a realization that Bruce has about his poor parenting, but a drug-fueled hallucination is the laziest way to do that, instead of actually continuing with the really good character relationship building you were doing. You just pump one of the characters full of drugs and he all of a sudden has the realization, oh no, I've been a bad parent. Bad writing, people. Really bad writing. It's interesting that after his son tells him he doesn't feel at home with him, his immediate reaction is, Damien is a pawn in the court's game, and this will all fix itself after I take out the court. So Damien reveals his face, and as a result they find out that Bruce is Batman. We are told that the plan was for Damien to become a zombie Talon in the non-undead Talon's place. If this isn't making sense to you, I'm sorry. But the Talon refuses to kill Damien and destroys the court instead. Because it's apparently that easy. And he sends the Talons after Bruce. Oh, I forgot, Dick, this version of you sucks. Dick sucks. Sorry. Damien escapes and informs Alfred that
Talons can't function in sub-zero cold.
You would have made a good Talon.
Okay, I appreciate the reference since Court of Elves is meant to be a Dick Grayson story, but no, he wouldn't. This Dick sucks.
Get the hell out of my cave!
Is it me, or was that line so lame? So they basically freeze the Talons. Bruce is fighting the head Talon and is losing until, of course, Damien comes to the rescue. Talon tries to appeal to Damien, to which he replies,
He's my father.
And once again we have an emotional resolution that isn't earned in the slightest. I mean, it was lazy what they did to Bruce, just giving him drugs and making him come to the realization that his relationship with his son is screwed up and he needs to change. But how did Damien come to this realization? The last time he saw his father, he said,
My home isn't with you. It never was.
And the only thing that's happened between then and now is he found out that the Talon was using him. How is that going to make his relationship with his father any more valid? But Talon killing himself on Damien's blade and Damien taking it pretty hard is actually a great resolution. So Damien decides that he needs some time away from his father to start understanding himself better.
You, Talia, Rafe, you're all in here. But where am I?
And I totally agree with that. I think that's a good ending, but allowing a 10-year-old to go off to the Himalayas alone, best dad ever. And I thought we were going to get a decent ending, but once again, we are treated to a monologue about just how special Damien is. You were this close, movie. You were this close. So I know I talked a little bit more about the plot than I usually do, but since they actually deigned to make this Batman movie a mystery, there is actually quite a bit of plot to cover, so that's nice. And for it being a mystery, it wasn't actually that bad. Some of the seeds were planted poorly, and it was more TV whodunit than a legitimately good Batman mystery. But in the end, it was decently constructed. It was okay. A lot of the plotting on the court's part didn't really make sense, but hey, it's big evil rich people trying to control the masses. It's a story that should be deep, but people don't really seem to know how to construct it correctly. Now, let's talk about the title, Batman vs. Robin, because I know it's a little clickbaity. I don't really know a word for clickbaity for a property that is not on the internet, so we're just going to say clickbaity. And I know that the fight between Batman and Robin is minutes and Batman is barely trying, but I still think it's a really appropriate title. It is Batman versus Robin. It's Bruce versus Damien. It's father versus son. The whole emotional core of this movie is the relationship between these two and how difficult it is for both of them to find any kind of connection and understanding with each other. And that is where this movie's strengths lie. So that put the movie a bit higher in my estimation than I originally remembered it being. So they did get the most important part of Batman vs. Robin down pretty well. The rest of the movie, on the other hand, when it comes to the idea of blood status, they do a really good job of saying that Bruce can't just be Damien's father because they're blood related. But then they step on their own point by using blood to elevate Damien to the most important and bestest character that ever was, because he's Damian Wayne. Of course, he has to be perfect. He has to be the best at everything, because blood. And if I get one more monologue about how special this little brat is, I'm giving up. I am seriously giving up on talking any further about Damien's character in this. Unless there is something good to say this series going forward, I am just going to stop complaining about how quite sick it is to put this child on a pedestal for no reason other than his blood status. It's really, really, really bugging me. And hallelujah, Damien's decision about whether to be an assassin or a crime fighter is not only explored, but is a prominent feature in a movie bearing his name. So, wow! Despite the fact that Damien and Bruce's relationship is set up quite well and is really interesting, the resolution isn't earned in the slightest. I mean, Bruce comes to the realization that he's made mistakes lazily. Of course, yes, but it is there. But the last thing Damien said to his father before the last fight was,
"My home isn't with you. It never was."
And all of a sudden, he's back and saying, "He's my father." Where did this come from? All that happened was he took off his mask, the girlfriend said, "We can use this boy to hurt Bruce." And I'm guessing Damien could have come to the realization that Talon was using him, and his dad was right about that, but that doesn't solve their issues. That doesn't solve Bruce not listening to him, not connecting with him, basically not being anything approaching a decent dad. But all of a sudden it's, no, he's my father because... I guess we're back to blood. So, good setup and unearned payoff. So, I have to say that I did enjoy this film. It still had pretty much all the same problems the last one had, but it had enough intrigue in it to make it kind of worth the watch. So, if you are interested in Damien's character, if you are interested in the Court of Elves, I'd say maybe this is a good one to check out. Otherwise, just leave it be. So, we have had the downward trend of the New 52 movies since Flashpoint down to Throne of Atlantis. Everyone has got considerably worse, but Batman and Robin kind of gave us a little bit of an upward curve, so I'm happy to see that. But the next movie, Batman Bad Blood, is considerably more bloated with characters, less focused, and I don't think as emotionally resonant. So I don't think we're going to continue going up.